Hello there and welcome back, guys. So the free agency has been going for quite some time right now, and we have to take some time to talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Probably the most demanding fan base, not probably, surely the most demanding fan base in all of the NHL. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have been pretty active on the free agent market as well in their own right. But the question is, did they make good moves or not? Again, the title of this video, as you have read, is about the core of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their four guys up front: William Nylander, Auston Matthews, Mitch Marner, and John Tavares. And should they change their core four? This has been the discussion for quite some time right now. Obviously, the question is, what is the Marner plan right now? Should they trade Marner or keep him, or what should happen with him? What's the plan with Tavares? Obviously, his contract will expire after this upcoming season. What's the plan with him? Do they want to keep Tavares or not? But obviously right now, let's talk about the offseason moves of the Toronto Maple Leafs and what they did lately. So, they have signed some defensemen. They have signed Chris Tanev, which he has been their top priority. That has been pretty well known that Chris Tanev has been the priority of Brett Treliving, the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So they get the job done, and they sign Christopher Tanev to an average annual value of $4.5 million. They also got the job done with Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who is coming from Florida. He just won the Stanley Cup, so Leafs are hoping that they can win Stanley Cup with him as well. So Oliver Ekman-Larsson, another piece on defense added. Jani Hakanpää added as well. They have signed also a contract with Timothy Liljegren new. So, some defensemen, they signed them. They also extended Joseph Woll in goal, so they also extended their goaltender. But the question is up front, guys. They have lost Tyler Bertuzzi, which was a pretty good player in Toronto in his own right. He has been, pretty physical. He plays his own, style of play, which he will definitely be missed in Toronto, and they probably should try to find some replacement for him in this, in this summer that is up ahead of us. But the question is, for the Toronto Maple Leafs, what happens with their core four? Now, should they change it, guys? I personally think they should. I think the Toronto Maple Leafs, they have been in the playoffs for every single season since 2016. They have made the playoffs. Obviously, one year they lost in the qualifying round to Columbus Blue Jackets, but other than that, they have been in the first round. They got knocked out in the first round for all of these years, except for the last year when they were knocked out in the second round by the Florida Panthers. So the question is, can this core of the Toronto Maple Leafs make it all the way to the Stanley Cup final and potentially win the Stanley Cup? Now, my answer to that would be no, they cannot. They had two coaches. They had Mike Babcock behind the bench, then they had Sheldon Keefe. They weren't able to progress through that first round or second round, respectively. They weren't able to get to the conference finals. Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Auston Matthews, and John Tavares were not able to produce enough in the playoffs. Obviously, the regular season, that has been the different story. Regular season has been pretty successful for the Toronto Maple Leafs lately. They had no real problems making the playoffs, but in the playoffs, it has been a different story. Again, the Atlantic Division, getting the Bruins, which they really don't enjoy, and I don't blame them, but they kind of have to be tougher. They kind of need to finally get over that that barrier and finally get a deeper run in the playoffs, which they have not been able to do. And I don't see any indications if they could do it again this year with the same core. I don't think so. I think they should try to move Marner. They should try to do something. And I have seen some discussion, on the TSN, Sportsnet, etc., even fans discussing, should they take the C off John Tavares and should they put it on Auston Matthews? Should Auston Matthews become the new captain in Toronto? Well, maybe you can have this discussion, but what does this really change? I don't see a point in it just changing the captain from John Tavares to Auston Matthews. Obviously, you could make an argument for it, that is for sure. Auston Matthews has been the best goal scorer by far in the NHL in the past couple of seasons, but what does this change? You need to bring some fresh new players, I do believe. You need to make some changes to your core four, if you like it or not. I know that probably Brett Treliving is trying to give a chance to Craig Berube, the new coach, to work with this core four, to work with John Tavares, Auston Matthews, Mitch Marner, and William Nylander on the same team. But to be fair, these four guys, along with Morgan Rielly on defense, they are basically taking half of the cap space. And that's a lot for Toronto Maple Leafs, so logically you have a lot less money for the rest of the team. So I think the team really needs a restructure. Obviously, Mitch Marner will be unrestricted free agent after this next season, same as John Tavares. So we will get some restructure of the Toronto Maple Leafs at least next summer, but I think they should already try to do some very, very big moves already this summer. Ahead of the next season, I think the core four probably needs some change. And I don't believe that Toronto Maple Leafs with this current team can make a really, really deep run, that they are a Stanley Cup favorite right now, because they just weren't able to prove themselves in the playoffs in these past couple of years. They weren't able to go all the way to the conference finals. They weren't able to go to the Stanley Cup final, so I don't believe that this Toronto team can win Stanley Cup next season. I think some changes need to happen. But again, guys, this is just my personal opinion that the core needs to be changed. Mitch Marner probably needs to be traded away. They need to try make some roster moves, and try something different this time. That's just my personal opinion. Obviously, they brought some defenders. They re-signed Joseph Woll. Will it be enough? Well, I don't think so, but definitely let's see what Craig Berube will do. He's a new coach, new boss in town, so let's see what Craig Berube will come with. What plan will he set up? How he will play with the core four? What type of, system will he bring in? And let's see what Craig Berube can do, but I don't expect them to win Stanley Cup next season, and I would rather see some changes to the core four in Toronto. Again, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, guys. Tell me, what do you think about the Toronto Maple Leafs roster? Do you also think that Toronto should change their core, or do you think they should stick with their current players? Tell me in the comments, guys, what are your expectations for the Maple Leafs next season? That's all for today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, guys. And yeah, I will see you in the future videos very soon. Bye, guys, and have a great day wherever you are. Bye, guys.